Okay, so I have been tasked with opening the first plenary today, which is entitled 100 Years of Global Revolution, Celebrating the Resistance, Legacies to Capitalism, Imperialism, and White Supremacy. So here we go. It's been a wild year for everyone. We started off seeing thousands in the streets for January 20th, when that monster Trump was sworn in as President of the United States. But what has followed has been a historic year of fight back. Starting with J20, when protesters militantly raised the banner of anti-racism, anti-imperialism, and anti-capitalism, we have seen our class take the streets again and again to try and push back whatever avalanche of terror this regime sends our way. And while our presence in the streets has been militant, immediate, and vanguard-like in its formation, it has not stopped the response of the state, which has likewise been forceful. More than 200 protesters were kettled and arrested on J20. They are facing up to 80 years in jail on felony riot charges. Comrades and friends from Jacksonville to New York were beaten and arrested for insisting that the U.S. must keep its filthy, blood-stained hands off of Syria. We experienced bricks thrown, hammers falling on us, gassed. We watched a murder happen in Charlottesville. And I remember sitting on the B-38 bus crying as I watched my comrades arrested in Durham for their heroism. I remember hearing them chant as they were led away in handcuffs. My heart was heavy with pride and love. And now I see that the ruling class wants to accuse me and my people of being puppets. They are reviving the old red-baiting tactics of the 50s, insisting that nobody has anything to complain about in a settler colony founded on genocide and slavery. It must be bankrolled by Russia, right? Our class struggles against gentrification, poverty, addiction, incarceration, the racist cops, and sometimes things seem to be getting harder and harder. But in the depths of this, so deep in the belly of the beast, what gives us hope? As revolutionaries, we know that we will win. Revolutionary optimism is looking at the world around us and knowing for sure that this can't continue indefinitely. We know that everything in this world is in a constant process of change and that this can't continue forever like this. It's just science. But when we stand in the streets and chant, "I believe that we will win," we're chanting with hope. It's a feeling in your chest, that dizzy love for our class. So in spite of all this pain, what makes someone in 2017 feel a deep sense of pride and love in the revolution that took place in Russia 100 years ago this year? It was not the first revolution where oppressed people threw off their chains, and it certainly wasn't the last. The challenges we face seem gargantuan, but our class has faced all this and more and achieved real victories. Our battles won and incredible odds surmounted give us hope. We have no choice but to succeed. It's not socialism or barbarism anymore. It's socialism or death, my comrades. When we talk about the Russian Revolution or the Haitian Revolution, the incredible Vietnamese victory against US imperialism, Mao winning after decades of struggle, Fidel arriving in Havana victorious, the Soviet flag hoisted over the Reichstag during the liberation of Berlin, we are talking about family history. In Russia, the peasantry and working class were hardly literate and lived in the most squalid of conditions. They were in the middle of what was then the bloodiest war in all European history, with youth after youth being sent to the front to die the most undignified and useless of deaths. There were no laws to protect people's right to assemble, their freedom of speech. So then how did we win the sweetest of victories in 1917? It's because they were organized. They were a tightly disciplined and yet totally adaptive organization, a Leninist party, led by the best and brightest of the working class and oppressed. They smashed through whatever the ruling class put in their path because the Soviet Union was a revolution whose time had come. The people had no choice but to get organized. By raising the banner of peace, land, and bread through tireless militant effort and organizing, the Bolsheviks helped deliver a force to the world that would defeat Nazi Germany and, by its very nature, enforce a balance of power that resulted in peaceful development and progressive gains throughout the world. It's only through organization that we can accomplish our most necessary task, smashing white supremacy, abolishing capitalism, and the immediate implementation of socialism. No one else will do this. It really is up to us. They've been telling me that socialism is dead since the collapse of the Soviet Union, but we've seen quite clearly in 2017 that the very idea, the very mention of socialism still invigorates our class and strikes terror into the hearts of our enemies. We must take ourselves and our task seriously. The incredible growth of our party in this phase is a vindication and affirmation of our line. Every new candidate, every new friend is a vote of confidence from our class. I look at the incredible caliber of my comrades who have been in this struggle for decades or just a few months, and I feel confidence. I look at the hundreds of thousands who have taken to the streets against white supremacy with love and hope. On the anniversary of the centennial of the Russian Revolution, looking at their conditions and ours, I believe we are again coming up on a turning point in history. The fight back in the 60s and 70s had the anti-war and anti-racist components, but not the economic crisis. Today, in 2017, we have all three. The system is becoming more and more exposed. As Comrade Larry Holmes said at the last conference, this Trump presidency has really ripped the mask off capitalism. The youth is at a record with its distrust and hatred of this death machine. We may indeed have the opportunity to avenge Fred Hampton, but only if we organize to build a revolutionary, combat-ready party. The future is ours to win.